Hello and welcome to the Emagia AI for Finance podcast. I am Brian Chappell, the Emagia Director of Content Strategy. We're here today with Naomi Secor from the Shared Services and Outsourcing Network and their Research and Analytics Division. We are very excited to have her here today, and we know she's incredibly busy prepping for the latest SSON event coming up here at the end of the month in Orlando, Florida. So we will get to all that soon, but we wanted to have a great conversation today about autonomous finance and AI and how it applies to shared services and the types of people like CFOs and treasurers and comptrollers and credit directors that'll be attending events like this and others throughout the year. We all know that the busy conference season creeps up on us, and this is kind of I feel like a marker in the sand that kind of starts that off. So welcome, Naomi. Appreciate you joining.
It's great to be here. I appreciate the invite and looking forward to a really good discussion on this topic and seeing you in Orlando at Shared Services Week.
Okay, so I guess why don't you just give us a little background on yourself? You know how you came to get to your position and some of your excellent credentials.
Oh, I'd love to. Well, I have been with SSON now for almost 20 years. And during that time, have accomplished a lot. Very, very fortunate to have built our shared services and outsourcing week events all over the world. And so been responsible for driving all of the content and the event strategy to make those into the large scale events they are today. I work very closely with all of our editorial teams to put out that great content that we're used to from SSON. And most recently, I've really been focused on SSON research analytics. We are the data analytics center of the SSON. So it is a subscription-based platform, but we offer the community shared services, GBS, sourcing executives, consultants, providers, the opportunity to have self-service access to all of our research, our analytics, our data tools, which is our metric benchmarking, location analysis, and a whole lot more. So my team and I have been really, really busy creating this intelligence platform. And, we continue to serve the community and make sure that everybody has what they need at their fingertips, that they can continuously improve their jobs, and we can continue to move our industry forward.
Okay, wonderful. So with that, obviously you're very deep into the data and analysis of everything. We've been finding on our own, the autonomous finance and everything wrapped around the AI craze has really kind of taken a jump forward since 2023 and the advent of chat GPT getting so much press and whatnot. Just judging by the data and everything you all are seeing, what does the data say about the last 12 months in autonomous finance and Gen AI? And the second part of that question is, how does the last 12 months differ from, say, the previous 12 or 24 months or even 5 years where it comes to this space?
Yeah, great question. It is a whole new world. Chat GPT and its gang of generative friends have certainly turned things upside down, and it's created a whole lot of buzz and a whole lot of opportunity. And it's our job to be able to really show a pragmatic approach to how we can implement this the right way in our organizations for the best possible impact. And it's going to have incredible opportunities for our talent, the way that we conduct processes, and just the way that we can transform the way that work gets done, which is the business that we're in. But interestingly enough, we did just run our autonomous enterprise event, and we talked a lot about its progression, particularly in finance. We ran some polling through the event. We could see almost 85% are actively investing in autonomous enterprise. We do see just under half respondents saying that they've just automated a few processes in this journey. So there's a long way to go in terms of enterprise-wide adoption, AI, and generative AI implementation. But certainly over the last couple of years, finance is certainly a friend to shared services and GBS. It's our most common processes found within. with procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report topping the list for really the last kind of 5 years. We know that at least 63% of these shared services GBS organizations have these three end-to-end processes included in their scope. And we talk a lot about this in our State of the Industry report. We've also dug deep into order to cash specifically. SSON RNA recently published a report on order to cash and working capital. We've seen that, the focus has increased, tools have improved, providers have sophisticated offerings, and certainly automation is a relevant driver for this. And we also can see higher automation levels correlate positively overall. For example, with higher relevance of cash, as well as a stronger focus on DSO as a metric. And higher automation levels we see also correlate with wider coverage of the order to cash process within GBS. And so, what we're finding though today is that there is still a long way to go. I think 70% of order to cash leaders, they consider their process maturity levels medium at best, characterized by, this could be low process management, this could be lack of global process owners or a lack of end-to-end view. Just a quarter consider themselves advanced or expert. So this is encouraging. But I would expect that we're going to have a much greater focus on optimizing the overall process moving forward. So that's a little bit of data there.
Okay. Now, obviously, nothing moves in a perfect straight line. There are going to be pitches, there are going to be obstacles and whatnot. What are you seeing out there as sort of getting in the way of, companies and CFOs and just generally, people out there working as staffers, places, anything in between? What's getting in the way of sort of a greater adoption of autonomous finance or AI or a correct adoption where it's actually used in the way that's actually going to best help them?
Yeah. So we could talk about this a little bit more broadly, but I'll start with just something very specific kind of in the order to cash. We see almost half of our respondents that are still receiving less than, half of customer orders in electronic format, right? So this is affecting profitability, it's affecting cash. And this is really surprising given the focus on electronic receipts and delivery and the fact that moving from manual to electronic delivery is relatively easy today. And so I think, that's one very specific example, but it's very true. Everyone listening to this can relate to that. So, there's a challenge there, but it's something that, yourself, can certainly help organizations get through. And I think that, with Gen AI specifically, we've been tracking this a lot. And so maybe, unsurprisingly, that 80% of our industry say they consider this to be highly critical. And when we look at the use cases that they're, focusing on right now, really analytics and insights generation and improved CX top the list. And when we drill down to the process level, huge opportunities in, data analytics, order to cash, and procure to pay. Some of the things that have kind of been slowing down the adoption, there's a lot of challenges. One is really concerns around data management. So this is around data quality, availability, accuracy, or the scarcity of resources and challenges in securing these dedicated experts. I'd love to get into this talent conversation later, but they are influenced by factors like scarcity of talent, as well as cost availability of that expertise that exists. These things do hinder the pace of innovation. And so, in this context, nurturing and upskilling GBS teams becomes pivotal. But, I will tell you, on our global advisory board, we talk a lot about AI, specifically generative AI, and there's just a tremendous amount of learning that needs to happen even before we can put together a very pragmatic framework. So concerns around data, privacy, governing, accountability, the communication of this, our knowledge workers, how we go about creating these digital twins, protecting that knowledge. So quite a bit of challenges, but nothing insurmountable for sure.
Okay. And you bring up the word upskilling in there and training and whatnot. So obviously having the workforce, ready to do this and to apply it to what they're doing is incredibly important. I know a lot of places, as of a year ago, were saying they're not close to there yet. They had a long way to go. Perhaps you can speak on the data about how much closer they're getting, and if you just could, can you explain what upskilling is? It's as opposed to, that's the new buzzword this year. It feels like kind of like Gen AI was the buzzword last year. So if you can just explain upskilling and how that can, help usher all this in and maybe solve some of the problems and worries.
Yeah, sure. I mean, upskilling refers to the process of acquiring new skills or enhancing existing ones so that we can stay relevant and competitive in our market or industry. So this is very positive. Acquiring new skills is always a good thing. But the opportunity with what you can do with these newly acquired skills has never been greater and welcomed. So, I was thinking about this a little bit back to the RPA craze. When RPA rolled over, most believed immediately 30% of jobs would disappear in the near future. We would have all kinds of revolutions would break out and so forth. But we know better now. In fact, the number of jobs in most economies has actually increased, and these jobs are moving up the value chain. And so, maybe the RPA experience explains why this time we're trending towards the other extreme, but there seems to be much less worry about job loss, and most companies see huge potential or hope for it. I think the largest risks are seen in the areas of like legal, regulatory, data privacy, IP. But the biggest showstopper is that often the case, we just don't have enough people with the skills required to drive these generative AI projects. And so, if you can't hire them because they're not available, or you can't partner with them because they're not available in sufficient numbers, then you need to train them. And this is what a lot of companies are doing. But training on generative AI, it takes longer than RPA. It has deeper prerequisites. So this is what's slowing everybody down. And the speed of advancement is less than expected or we would hope for. But, our data, SSON Research and Analytics, our recent generative AI and GBS report that's available through SSON RNA confirms that 44% of GBS organizations are committed to nurturing an organic Gen AI savvy workforce. So I just talk all day about this topic, but we are going to see much more, value added work coming into shared services and GBS, which is going to be certainly impacting attrition. We are going to be able to open the doors for all kinds of focus on new critical skills like problem solving, data analytics. These things top the list. And it's really going to help us drive transformation at a faster pace. So I'm excited about it.
Great. And that's great to hear that a lot of this stuff is going to be, more augmenting and trying to help people do their jobs better or do higher value stuff. I was out on the road a lot this year going to conferences and ran into a lot of credit directors and credit managers per se. And the biggest thing that they were worried about was this was going to be a great job killer, and every time we at Emagia have had to release something like when we've come up with the Gia digital assistant or Gia GPT, or oh hey, why don't you automate your cash app? There are always that group of people that are going to be a little recalcitrant because they think, oh, if I embrace this, am I out the door? It sounds like that's not what this is not what this is intended for, at least for this industry or these industries.
Yeah, that's right. And change is always going to be hard. And, it's really leadership's responsibility to help drive the message and help make sure that we've got the strategy in place to, continue to move our employees up within the organization and enhance their skills. Which the opportunity to do so with this is great. It's going to open up, as I said, all kinds of doors. So, but it is natural, but to be a little worrisome. But change is great, and nothing can replace people, can certainly ever replace people. And it's actually interesting. I was sitting on a panel a few months ago, and leaders were asked about this topic, and they said, not only is it not going to replace jobs, like we need our employees to understand how to use this and leverage it and make the most out of it. When I'm recruiting right now, I want to be, recruiting somebody who knows about this stuff, that knows how to use Chat GPT, that can come up with some good ideas. It's important. We want this embedded in everyday practices. So,
Well, okay, so that kind of dovetails into, we've talked about obstacles, we've talked about fears, we've talked about need for training. Let's talk about some wins. Everybody loves to hear about wins, whether they're in the data and the analytics, or whether they're anecdotal. What are some of the big wins you're seeing out there already from, the first movers and the early adopter types that, have already seen, like, yeah, we already know, you don't have to convince us, the value is here. We're going to start it on this. What sort of stuff is going on there, and what are some lessons that people in shared services and other, types of businesses can take from them as 2024 goes on?
yeah. So we are very much in the pilot stage for most companies, but especially as we looked at the results from some of the world's best GBS organizations who recently applied for our award, we do see some progress being made and some early wins. So some examples for you around advanced decision making, through the analysis of vast data sets and simulations and scenarios for better decision making. We're seeing progress around the developments of chatbots to process really comprehensive knowledge about a company. A niche area is around ticket classification and extraction accuracy. These are areas of significant opportunity. Within order to cash, GenAI we're seeing the potential of it really revolutionizing invoice processing, right? You'll know more about this than anyone, but by automating that data extraction from invoice and cross-referencing them with existing databases, we can significantly reduce manual effort and errors, and we are seeing some early wins in companies. So, it goes pretty quickly. The system learns from patterns. It looks at past discrepancies to improve accuracy over time. And so this is really accelerating the invoicing process, but it's also minimizing delays and errors. And so what we're seeing at the end, as we look at the metrics and the benchmarking results, is that this leads to faster cycle times and improved cash flow management. So, these are some early wins that we're seeing, and we're going to continue to track them and love, to hear examples from others as the time comes.
So, things have come enough of a way in the last, couple of years that I noticed with the shared services and outsourcing week show in Orlando this year. The whole first day boot camp is kind of dedicated to AI and generative AI, and it's obviously a huge focus of the program. Obviously, I know you're keenly involved in all of that over there. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about the show, which I believe starts on March 25th, and just how important this is for people right now as we're going through this huge transition towards a autonomous finance world.
So I'd sum this up in 5 words, which is transforming how work gets done. That's the business that we're in. And Shared Services and Outsourcing Week is all about helping individuals and their teams understand how to transform the way that work gets done. And so all of our content, our networking has been really designed to do this. We have these generative AI focus days at the beginning of the event where you can deep dive into areas like finance and HR. We have an entire day dedicated to women in leadership. We have a number of workshops that deep dive into no matter what level of maturity you are in terms of setting up a shared services organization or scaling a GBS organization, or you want to learn how to optimize your order to cash. So you can participate in those workshops and master classes. We kick off with some incredible keynotes. We've got tracks for every area, including finance, HR, IT, supply chain. We're going to be doing lots on the exhibit floor pavilion so you can meet the vendors, you can actually touch and feel the solutions and see how they could work for you. I know all of our providers are excited to debut their new capabilities. We've got great debates on stage around, let's be straight and talk about what is the future of sourcing and, what is the future of these models and how do we do this as best as possible to continue to move forward, because this is all about value. This is all about continuing to add value and do it better than we did the day before. And we are at a very, very important time right now to be able to show that and to be able to communicate that effectively. So lots of great content. We have awards. We've got lots of networking functions. Well over 1,000 people in attendance. It is really the place to be if you're in the business services industry, and we can't wait to welcome you.
Yeah, we're excited to be participating as an exhibitor and a sponsor, and our own CEO and founder Vina Gundavelli is going to be speaking during that first day boot camp on GenAI. So I think that's going to be very exciting. This will be my first year there, so I can't wait to see it and get back into the conference swing of things. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great event and highly insightful for everybody who makes the time to get down to Florida for that. So again, that's March 25th through 28th in Orlando, Florida at the Rosen Shingle Creek Resort. So very much looking forward to that. Listeners, you can go on our website. You can find links to the event as well as discount codes for anyone who's a follower of ours to go ahead and make a late sign up for that. There's still room as far as I can tell. And I don't know, just as far as our interview here went, thank you for your time. I just wanted to give you a sort of a last parting shot opportunity if there's anything else you wanted to share with us today.
No, I'd say thank you for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you at the event, and to all of the attendees in the community, please do stay in touch. SSON Research and Analytics, we will be at the event, and we're excited to show you everything we're doing on the benchmarking space and the location analysis and all of our research. And so please visit us as well. And can't wait to see everyone.
All right, great. We'll see you at booth 602. Well, our booth anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode, hopefully with some great guests that we meet down in Orlando at the show. So, thank you. Have a great day, everyone.